why and when smart people actually want to pay more taxes. I know that you think that all the smartest people are paying less taxes, but this is what your priority actually is, and I'm not going to convince you of it. I'm going to help you discover it for yourself by giving you several examples. So here's the first example of why I believe and know that you actually want to pay more taxes, because I know that you're a smart person. I talk to clients day in and day out, and every single time this comes up, this helps them discover for themselves. I am not trying to convince you of anything. I want you to understand your own priorities, your own goals, and what you really want. And I'm going to give you some examples to help you understand that. So here's the first one. Let's say you live anywhere that has a state level income tax. New York, California, North Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina. Look, there's only 9 states that don't have a personal income tax. So you probably live in one of the states that does have a state income tax. So my first strategy for you is to move. Pick up and move. Come to Florida. We have no state income tax. Our property taxes aren't that much higher. Our sales tax is pretty normal with other states that have sales tax, which most do. Some don't, but most do. We have some toll roads, but you don't have to hit those, and they're not as much as what you're currently paying in state income taxes. So if you want to pay less in taxes, pick up and move. That will save you 4 to 12% in taxes, depending on what state you're in. Now, if you just had this reaction like, I don't want to live in Florida. I love New York. I love North Carolina. I would never going to leave Arizona, California, wherever you are. Then your number one priority is not reducing taxes. And you're a smart person. You actually want to pay more in taxes to live where you live, because of your family connections, because the job that you have, because you like the area and the weather and whatever. You're making your decision based on other priorities in your life that are more important to you than taxes. So that is a perfect example of why smart people actually want to pay more in taxes. You are choosing to pay more in taxes by staying in that state than leaving. That is a perfect example. I'll give you another one. If you want to pay less in taxes, give $50,000 this year to a charitable organization. That will absolutely reduce your income taxes. Now, you might say, I can't give $50,000. I only make $50,000, or I only make $150,000, and that's a third of my income. I cannot give that much, nor do I want to give that much to a charity. Okay. Again, you're a smart person. You're not going to give away $50,000 in order to save potentially $15,000, $20,000 in taxes. You're going to have to give $50,000 to reduce your taxes by $15,000 or $20,000. Unless you want to give that money anyway, that's not a smart decision. So your desire, your want, your priority is not to reduce your taxes. Because if it was, you would go give the money. You would move to a new state. I'll give you one more. Here's one that I talk to clients about a lot. Now, some clients do this, some don't. And that is to invest in real estate. This is one of the top strategies that people are talking about. Invest in real estate and either use the real estate professional status or the short-term rental strategy. Pair it with the cost segregation and significantly reduce your taxes. Now, this one targets high-income earners, usually. Most people are targeting them anyway because they pay higher fees and there are more strategies available to them. But even then, I talk to a lot of clients and I tell them, here's how to do this. And they end up saying, I don't want to do that. One, you might not want to own rental property. You might not want to have to deal with the headache. You might not want to be a landlord. Even if you get a property manager to do this, there's still headache and stress that comes around being a landlord and owning rental property. You might not want to do that. In order to get the biggest benefit of this, you have to do the cost segregation study, and those really only are beneficial on the higher income homes. So you can't go buy a $300,000 single family home and really get the full benefit of this cost segregation study. You're going to have to be buying $800 million homes to really get the benefit of this cost segregation study. Can't afford that, maybe. Don't want to buy a house that expensive. Okay. You might have to hit real estate professional status. Now, to do that, you cannot have a W-2 job. You cannot have a W-2 job and hit real estate professional status. So if you don't want to leave your W-2 job, if you're married, one spouse can do it and the other can have a W-2 job, but maybe that spouse doesn't want to do that. Maybe you don't want your spouse being the real estate professional. Maybe you both have W-2 jobs and neither of you wants to leave your W-2 job. Okay, real estate professional status is off the table. Again, what you want is to keep your W-2 job. What you want is to not have to spend that time. Now, if you want those things, I'm not saying that. If you want those things, that's great, and then we can use that tax strategy. If short-term rental, maybe you wanted a long-term rental, and you don't want to deal with Airbnb, you don't want to deal with this turnover. Your rental is not in really a high vacation or vacation area, so Airbnb or Vrbo doesn't make sense. I always say VRBO. Their commercials say Vrbo. First time I heard that, I was like, really? That's what they call it, is Vrbo? Anyway, so Vrbo, if you didn't know. I always say VRBO. It just sounds better to me, but sidebar. So again, I think those three examples have shown that smart people sometimes actually want to pay more in taxes because they have other priorities in life. They have other things that are more important to them, where they live, what they spend their time on, how they invest their money. Those things, taxes are not the number one thing in life. You don't want to reduce your taxes at the expense of cash flow, money in your pocket, the opportunity to build wealth, the enjoyment of your life. Oh, I gotta do all these things. I gotta hit real estate professional status. I gotta keep this log. I didn't even really want to own real estate anyway, but my tax guy convinced me that this is the only way to pay less in taxes, and now I gotta deal with all that. Look, your number one goal in life, I promise you, is to enjoy your life. So if you enjoy your W-2 job, you want to stay there, you don't want to open a business, you don't want the stress of that, that's what you're going to choose. You enjoy where you live and you don't want to move to Florida, Texas, Washington, Tennessee, you don't want to live in any of those states, you're going to stay where you are because you want to enjoy your life. Your priority is you want to enjoy your life. So what do? We look for tax strategies that fit your life. We don't make your life fit tax strategies. I'm going to say that again. You look for tax strategies that fit your life. You don't fit your life into tax strategies. That is a great way to hate your life. And it's still not going to be amazing. I mean, you spend $10,000 to save $3,000. You buy a rental property to save, if you do it right and you're high income, maybe you save $40,000, $50,000 in taxes. Sounds amazing. But if you turn around and sell that property, you got to recapture all that anyway. Now, it might be at a lower tax rate, but it's not as huge of a benefit as you think it is. Okay, you keep it and you die, and then your heirs inherited it, and they completely skip out on taxes. Great. But you've got to own a rental property for 50 years, 40 years, 30 years. And if you don't want to do that, it's not going to be fun. I've owned rental property. It was fine. I enjoyed it. I don't want to do it right now. I might want to do it again. But if I was making my decisions based on tax strategy, I'd be doing a lot of things that I really don't enjoy to reduce my taxes. And that's just not what I have found most people want to do. So let's see, I think I've hit most of this. Let me see if there's anything else I really want to think about. But if you're a smart person, there are plenty of times where you are choosing to pay more in tax, but it's not framed that way. So I wanted to point it out to you because this is always a huge realization. I like to help people do things that they want to do. I don't want to lower your taxes to say, look at how amazing I am. Look at the taxes I saved you. Now pay me this high fee. That is not my goal. That is a lot of tax strategists, tax professional goals. They want to show you, look at all the taxes I saved you. Don't look at the stress I caused you. Don't look at the headache that I just gave you. Don't look at the fact that I convinced you to do something you didn't actually really want to do or wasn't part of your priorities in terms of how you wanted to invest your money or spend your money or whatever. Don't look at that. Look at this giant number that I saved you. I saved you in taxes, and pay me a fee that's really high because I saved you so much in taxes. That is not my goal at all. I don't want to convince you out of these strategies either. I don't want to convince you of anything. I want to help you discover what your actual goals are and to tell you what strategies align with those goals. So I'll say it one more time. Don't make your life fit your tax strategies. Find tax strategies that fit your life. That's what I help my clients do. That's why my clients have more peace of mind. That's why my clients love me, enjoy working with me, and feel like I am very practical, down to earth, normal guy, just sharing with them what I truly believe, and are far more satisfied than a lot of other people's clients. Thanks for watching.